Hello, welcome to the Warframe Collective. Today, we are going to be talking about the three most aesthetically pleasing female Warframes. Now, this list can be divided between primes and non-prime variants because let's be honest here, sometimes the non-prime variant of a frame looks better than the prime and vice versa. So, if you hear me shout out the normal variant, it's because the normal variant looks better, in my opinion. Now, listen, I know there's going to be some people out there that's going to be like, oh, Remo, why are you doing a list like this with the female Warframe? It's misogynistic and na 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 na. And to those people, all I got to say is shut the fuck up, bitch. Quit crying. Plus, in the next video, we're doing the boys. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into it, guys. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Mag Prime. Now, Mag in general is a pretty good looking Warframe, but Mag Prime, in my opinion, is the best looking variant between her and Base Mag. But if you only have Base Mag, one of the ways you can remedy that is to purchase some Tenogen, which is another reason Mag Prime is on this list, because in addition to being an overall pretty good looking Warframe, she also sports an extensive amount of customization in the form of Tenogen. Mag is also very strong, which is certainly a plus when you're going with a Warframe that's aesthetically pleasing, because let's be honest here, some Warframes are actually really good, but if your Warframe doesn't have a face for some reason, or for some reason your Warframe is pregnant, I'm not going to find that very aesthetically pleasing because I don't know, that's just kind of weird, you know. We're getting a little too real world over here. But based off Mag's great bone structure, you can tell that if she were a real person, she'd probably be that bad blonde bitch that we all wanted to get with, but no one had enough game to pull. Anyway, moving on. Now, coming in at number 2, we have the Ghost Waifu, which is none other than Ghost Mommy Wisp. Now, when we're talking Wisp, we're talking base Wisp, not prime Wisp, because for reasons I will not elaborate on, I find Wisp base form better than her prime variant. But Wisp is a very aesthetically pleasing Warframe. In fact, it might be argued by a lot of players that she may be the most aesthetically pleasing Warframe. And in addition to being really aesthetically pleasing, she has some of the best idle animations of any Warframe in the entire game. Then on top of the fact that Wisp has really cool idle animations, Wisp also has one of the best walking animations and one of the best running animations. She constantly looks like she's in that superhero stance. As a matter of fact, when Wisp walk into a room, it's motherfucking thunder and lightning. Everybody knows when Wisp entered the building. Whereas when your Warframe walks into a room, nobody even knows you're there. You're like a fucking mouse pissing on cotton. And look, one of the obvious elephants in the room is one of the reasons I find Wisp so aesthetically pleasing is because Wisp has cakes. Oh girl is cakey, and I find that extremely aesthetically pleasing. And the fact that her cakes flow so well with her ghostly aesthetic is a huge plus. And look, there's a reason why when First Descendant came out, its player population immediately eclipsed Warframe in Destiny. Of course, when people caught on, their player population fell off a cliff. Now it's half of what Warframes is, but there's a reason that shit was so popular. Then on top of all that, Wisp sports an extensive amount of customization for a Warframe that is pretty new. That only speaks to how much people actually like Wisp. Wisp has a really good amount of Tenogen, and most of her Tenogen actually looks pretty good. Now, before I unveil my number 1 pick for the most aesthetically pleasing female Warframe, let me just say that this list is all a matter of preference and there is no wrong answer. But one thing I will say about my number 1 pick is I am biased. So without further ado, my number one pick for the most aesthetically pleasing female Warframe is going to be Saren Prime. Now listen, I am biased because I've been maining Saren Prime since Saren Prime came out. I've been maining Saren Prime since before most of you even knew what the fuck Warframe was. So I'm definitely a little biased, but I think a lot of people might agree with me that Saren Prime is the most aesthetically pleasing female Warframe. Now, not only is Saren Prime the most aesthetically pleasing Warframe in my opinion, but with the rework she received a couple years ago, she's also extremely strong, and she could be made absurdly strong with the right mod setup. Now, Saren Prime is a bad bitch. She's like that badass redhead bitch that's super sexy, but you know you have to stay away from because she's so damn toxic. But every time she walks by and you catch a whiff of her pheromones, you get a stiffy in your pants. She's an angel that leaves nothing but death and destruction in her wake in the form of a pile of bodies shrouded by a cloud of poison, mist, and miasma. She's Poison Ivy from Batman, and I really fucking like Poison Ivy, but let's be honest, we all know how that story ends for the boys, and so you better be careful when dealing with Saren because what she'll do to you might prove insurmountable. Now listen, there are more aesthetically pleasing female Warframe out there. This is just the list I threw together off the top of my head of the three I find the most aesthetically pleasing, but we can always do another list, so sound off in the comments on the female Warframes you think are the most aesthetically pleasing. Anyway guys, thank you for watching, I greatly appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. Peace.